If you've ever wondered how to use Laravel service container, this video is for you. Let's go. So as you can see, this is my tutorial project, and I'm going to be using this one for demonstrating anything that comes to my mind that I think you should know if you want to become more senior Laravel developer. I'm going to create a really simple example without any front end for this video. Right, so we are going to go into route, and we are going to get, and this route is going to be called service container. Right, we are not even going to create controllers, no need for that. We can do everything in here, and this is basically what you should never do. So never write some logic into a route get a facade method right in the callback function, because this will be a mess later on. So this is my tip number one: not allow the service container. Definitely do not do that. Instead, rather create an invocable controller, but I will show you this later on. All right, so what we are going to do, just to test it out that this works, we are going to return 1, 2, 3. So now let's copy paste this, and we will go on the route. Wow, it works. Great. So now let's imagine, and what I like to do is I like to create first of all the domains in the app folder structure. So I'm going to create domains. Yeah. And let's say that for this demo, we are going to create a demo of some kind of posts. Okay, so post will be the domain. We are going to be submitting posts, anything, and anything connected to the post is going to sit here. And what we are going to do is we are going to create subfolder in the post folder called services. This is, by the way, how I do it on every project that I am working on, and it has been a blessing. I mean, I was using the app folder and all the Laravel folders, which are okay, like providers, models, anything in HTTP, but this comes in very handy because now you know which domain is what. Anyways, let's create a simple class called post service. And yes, this is just a basic class, right? Nothing special about it. And what we are going to do is we are going to use this service the old school way, and then we are going to utilize service container. First of all, there is going to be a constructor. There's nothing in the constructor, so we don't even need to write it, but just to make it clear, it's in here. And we are also going to create like public int, let's call it like a good post, and it's going to be equal to 0 initially. And we are going to create a method. By the way, I'm using these fancy snippets, and this is going to be called increase good posts by 1. So all that this is going to do is good post is going to be ++, right? Increase. And we are going to create a simple function to basically return us the good post. Just make a method, and that is going to return integer, and it's going to return these good posts. Yeah, this is like the good, good old age when you were using good getters and setters. I have never been a fan of that, but just for purposes of this demo, let's use it. So what I was doing a few years ago is that if I wanted to, let's say, use this container, what I would do is I would call something like service equals new post service, right? And I could basically do like service. If I wanted to call the increase, everything is okay. So, and let's return the service. Yeah, all is working. It's fine. And we can call the method or even the public property, but let's just now call the method. So what we are going to see is number 1, of course. This is how I was doing it. Later on, what I was doing was, then let me copy paste this and comment this out, was usage of the Laravel magic. So you basically inject it into these brackets in the function call, and Laravel somehow magically, they call it magic. So this is where we expose the magic trick. So magically it works, and it still works. So even if I call this twice, it's going to be 2. Great. Now, how does this work? on the backend is that it's utilizing the service container. Now, imagine the fancy word service container always scared me. I was like, what, which container? There are only like one container that I know, and it's definitely not encoding. Let me explain this to you like a 6-year-old, or maybe not 6-year-old, like 16-year-old. So, what Laravel does, it looks into this class, the post service. It looks into its constructor, and if it's empty, it's so smart that what it basically does is this for you, right? So, and there is a thing called container. So it stores this instance into container. Container is a fancy word for array. So there is an array of classes and aliases and everything, and it basically stores this single instance into the container, and it creates it for you, and you are able to use it within this runtime. That's all about to it, how service container creates class. So if you use this magic method, it's the same as writing this, but Laravel is doing it for you. Now, this was like numero uno example of very simple way how to use service container. Now, let's say I don't want to use this magic methods in the function arguments. So let's get rid of it. Or maybe, you know what, I will rather comment it out. And let's do it the other way. I mean, third way. And this is how we are going to utilize service container hardcore way. So we are going to call the app helper, and we are going to call our name of the class, post service, just like this. And we can do service equals this. And it works. It's still 1. So this is what the magic method is doing on the backend, behind the scenes. But this is how I use it usually, and you will understand why in a minute. Now, let's say that this is the basic example, right? Post service with nothing. I mean, I'm using a lot of services like this, that they don't have a constructor and anything. Now, let's say that you have some class. In this example, it's going to be post service, and in constructor, let's say you will require something like public integer random number. Now, if I do not change these lines, let's see what we will do. Well, Laravel is not so magic after all, right? It's not a wizard, so it doesn't know what to do, because now this class post service requires something in the constructor, and Laravel does not know what's going to be passed in the constructor. So this is not the way how you can utilize service container if there is something in constructor. So how to do that is, I'm going to duplicate this one, and we are going to get rid of this, and there is a method called make with, and first one is the name of the class, and then there is an array of the parameters. So basically what is being needed in the constructor. And if I type in something like this, it doesn't have to be 1, it can be 50, it works. So this is how you can utilize service container for classes and ask the service container, hello, Mr. Service Container, can you build me this class with these parameters? And some of you might ask, well, why the hell should I use this instead of the good old ways and creating this? Well, you'll find out in the next minute. So let's say that what we are going to do is, in this example, I'm going to copy paste it, comment it out, and we have a service. And let's say that you would kind of want to, let's say that this logic of this would be somewhere else, So we would have like a method in here that would be called somewhere else, and you would once again have to create the post service in this way, and you would call this again. Imagine that this is somewhere else in the project, in some different method that you would be calling in this route. Now, what do you think will be the output? 1 or 2? It's 1. Why? because we are making a new instance on this line. And now this is where the magic of another fancy word, service provider, comes in. So I'm sure, well, back in the days, there was a thing called app service provider. It still exists. Great. And what you can do is that you can make Laravel, not make, but you can tell Laravel, like, hey man, if whenever I ask for a post service class, make sure to give me just the one instance. And if there's one that already exists, do not create another one. Don't you dare create another instance. And this is called singleton. So now you are going on with the first design pattern called singleton pattern. Let's say what we are going to do is call this up. And now this is like this singleton, and we are just going to tell it post service. So now that we have this singleton in here, let's get rid of this example for now. And what you can do, we are going to go back into not the make with, but with a simple one, which does not require anything in the constructor. Sorry, not this one, but this one, let's say. So we are going to get rid of this line, and we are going to make up post service. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this public integer. And in the constructor, I'm going to insert this lock, like, or you know what, at least call it dump. Like, I am building this. So we have single instance, so it should be here only once. Yeah, of course. So this is only once here. And yeah, if I call this a second time, it's still in here only once. Let me actually get rid of the dump. It might be killing the application. So let's go into info. And yeah, so there is number one. And let's check out the storage logs. Oh, this is a mess. Again, refresh. I'm building this. It's here only once, which is okay. I'm going to create this again. And now tell me which result should we get, 1 or 2. So if I refresh it, it's 2. And if I check it out, it's here only once. You see? If I just delete it, we are in the constructor only once. So this means that this line 25 builds the instance of post service, but this line 28 only asks like, oh, let's build a post service. No, you naughty boy. We already have a post service class and its instance. So we are going to use that one. Now, if I get rid of this singleton, we are going to see number 1, because it's making a new instance out of box. So to sum it up, service containers, well, this is just the basics of service container, but this is where you start. So you can start utilizing the service container by basically using it as a builder for your classes. If it has constructor, you can pass in the parameters for the constructor, and you can also utilize it to create only a single instance of the classes throughout the lifecycle of the application by using the singleton method in the service provider, right? Which is this one. So I'm going to be making a video about service container part 2 in upcoming days. So make sure to subscribe and check out this channel so you can become a more advanced level developer when it comes to service container, because trust me, this is the question that is being asked on the interviews everywhere, because this is, I think, poorly explained in the documentation, and it's kind of hard to understand in the advanced tech language, but when I talk to you like a normal person, you can actually get it pretty easily. So stay tuned and see you next time.